LSU is playing Alabama this week, a guy who played for Nick Saban, played for LSU, big part of many wins, championships, the national championship in 2003. Big Ben Wilkerson, thanks so much for being here, man.
No, I'm so thankful and honored to be here to talk with you again, my man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. This is kind of
Yes,
a impromptu interview. You've been such a great guy. He's an NFL coach, right? You've been in New York City coaching for a while with the Giants and now the Jets, right?
yes. This is my sixth year in the New York, New Jersey area. 4 years with the Giants, and now midway through the second year with the Jets. And it's been an experience being up here in this area. You know, being a Southern guy and those Southern roots and everything. So getting a chance to experience this side of the country and the different cultures and things, it's been pretty cool.
Well, I've caught some Jets games on TV. Of course, we know about the big injury, but you guys have scrapped out some victories and are doing well. So we're rooting for you.
I surely appreciate it, man. It's been some hills we had to climb, but we got a resilient team, and it definitely starting to show. And hopefully, we can continue that going forward.
So LSU been playing Alabama this week. I've talked to, let's see, Trev Falk. Trev Falk had his shoelaces untied before the 2001 Tulane game. Saban jumped his, you know what? You're
No
not, your
doubt.
shoes are untied. You're not, your mind's not on the right thing. Trev didn't. Trev says today, I understand what he was getting at back then. I didn't get it. All these guys are coaches now. You're a coach. Rohan Davey coaching, Marcus Randall, Benny Brazil's coaching
Mm-hmm.
track. All these guys kind of say the same thing. I get it now. I get it what he was saying. Are you the same way?
100%. You know, once you get on this side of the football side, when it comes to the coaching part, you kind of see the work and the time that it takes to put a plan together week to week and the effort that's put into it. And obviously got to put the trust in the players to make those things come to life. But there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. And so the demand is definitely there. The um, the wanting of your players to play well and play hard and play with a mindset and play with a certain style that you want to portray out there on the field and demanding those things on a play to play basis. It takes a lot of work, and I definitely understand the intensity that Coach Saban and the rest of those guys on the staff brought to the table, and it definitely helped me as a player coming from a little country town in Texas. Understand what big boy ball meant and the expectations of playing in the SEC and playing for a school like LSU. And we took those hard days and those hard coaching and we made those things come to life on the field. And that's why we was able to have success. So I got no regrets at all.
Ben, can you remember or speak to the attention to detail? Like, for example, Benny tells me, and look, Benny was not a star player at the time, but he said he had gone to the Olympics, the Olympic trials, and Saban every day. When are you coming home? When are you coming home? We
Mm-hmm.
need you here at summer workouts. You remember that kind of just nothing got by him type thing?
Oh no, Coach Saban is a very intense coach. I say was, but still is, and his demand for excellence definitely shows throughout his history, even after he left LSU. And hats off to him for the success that he's had. At the end of the day, that's what he instilled in us. Um, it was something that we took to heart, and we really prided ourselves in as far as matching that intensity on the field. So we had some physical days out there on the practice field, not just from a schematic standpoint, but just the style of play. And I remember those battles against Spears and Chad Lavallee and Claude Roten and Kyle Williams and Marquise Hill and Melvin Oliver and the numerous other ones. I know I'm forgetting a lot of names that these guys, I mean, we developed each other. And it's interesting, we had this conversation with our coaching staff about the experiences we had as a player and what stands out to you most. And the thing that I alluded to was, practices were hard, and that's what made Saturdays easy. If we knew as an offensive line we could compete against Spears and Kyle Williams and Roden and Marquise Hill and those guys and Chad Lavallee and have success on a day-to-day practice mindset, then Saturdays it was going to be a cakewalk. We were definitely prepared, and so throughout the hardness of practice, we knew that something was going to come out of it. And we just had to trust in ourselves, trust in the coaching, and push ourselves, hold each other accountable, hold ourselves accountable to meet that standard day to day. And that's what allowed us to go out and get those wins that we needed to get to the championship game and ultimately win it overall.
Yeah, great stuff. And you talking about all that, we sat down with Tommy Moffitt last week for a while, and I would imagine that he was just as integral of that success as anybody, right?
I can't tip my hat off enough to Coach Tommy Moffitt and the things that he was able to instill in us in that weight room. But not only that, just outside of the weight room, and even after we left LSU as players and came back, be it from a visiting standpoint or when I went back as a GA when I first started my coaching career. But those relationships that we developed with Coach Moffitt stands the test of time. And just the success he's had with us at LSU, the places he's been before, his resume speaks for itself. And so I'm so proud to say I'm a Moffitt student, a Moffitt, I guess, one of his crop that developed me from, like I said, a little bitty country boy coming into school at 250 pounds and developed me into an SEC offensive lineman.
Yeah, you were starting by the end of 2001, right? When you guys made it to the SEC championship game, upset Tennessee, won the Sugar Bowl. You were in there pretty quick.
Oh yeah, my first official start was a Kentucky game. 4 games in, I got a little playing time versus Tennessee and versus Florida and Tulane. But I eventually got to start a Kentucky game in 2001, and just kind of went from there. And so was fortunate that my opportunity came early. I'm thankful for guys like Rohan Davey, who when I first was told I was going to have the ball in my hand and snapping to him, he said, "Look, you got control." And he forced me to learn the offense and be able to make those calls. He didn't baby me. And Coach Saban, I remember on the recruiting trail when he came to visit me, he was one of the few coaches that kind of shot me straight, and I respected that. He told me, "We're not going to give you anything. You got to work for it. And when your name is called, you better be prepared. And we trust that you'll be able to do that." And, that meant a lot to me. And so when I finally got the call, it just kind of was one of those moments when everything kind of came to fruition. And, I just felt good about the opportunity and just didn't want to let my teammates or my coaches down.
So 2001, the Kentucky game, that was the last second drive down the field before the crazy game the next year, the Bluegrass Miracle. Michael Clayton, right, from Rohan in the final moments to win the game.
Yes, great game, man. Great experience just to come out with that win as a true freshman and know that I was able to contribute in a significant way to that. It kind of gave me that feeling of, okay, I can do this. I can play in this league and make an impact to this team. And so from that moment forward, it was just full steam ahead of trying to continue to improve myself and find more ways that I could contribute and help us win more games.
What was it about Rohan and Reed, Josh Reed, that pass catch combination? You're snapping the ball, you're blocking obviously, but maybe you're seeing a bit of this go on, right? The passing and the catching and everything. What made them so dynamite?
Well, the thing is, as an offensive lineman, as you're locked up with a defensive lineman, you're pass protecting. As soon as that defensive lineman turns his back to you, takes off running, it's completion. So it's all about following the ball and getting to it to where you can get to the huddle and get the next play. But we had all the confidence in the world that connection there between those two was truly magical and was something that we can count on at any given time, in any given situation. And if we needed to get out of dodge, we knew that Josh Reed was going to make a play and Rohan was going to do his thing with his arm. And so it was so much fun working with those guys and being able to block for Rohan, allowing him to get the ball down the field to those playmakers. And, all across the board between him and Mike Clayton and Jarrell Myers and the rest of the crew, it makes us feel good as an offensive lineman to be able to contribute in that way. Because those guys can't make the plays down the field unless we provide the time for the quarterback to do this thing. So it definitely made an impact on us and just make us want to compete more and block more and do everything we can to give him the time he needed.
You're so busy coaching. I don't know how much time you've had to watch LSU, but I've heard some comparisons and then maybe some not. Josh Reed, Malik Neighbors, is there anything there? Like Rohan never passes on getting a little jab into his former teammates. Like, oh, he's much faster than Josh. Josh had to get from A to B because he didn't have blazing speed, right? But what do you see in those two guys, if anything?
Just playmaking ability. I just remember, Josh, if you compare speed, I can't say one or another. I don't have the 40 times in front of me, but the thing that I remember most about Josh was, he can get open in those intermediate routes and then make plays with his feet, just continue to run and get those extra yards. And then Malik Neighbors is watching him this year, just the playmaking ability down the field. And so both of those guys, I think, from a comparison standpoint, are truly playmakers that you can trust to go out there and make that significant play in a critical moment that you truly need. I still remember the play Josh Reed made going against Georgia Tech in that bowl game the year before we got there, and that toe tap right there in the back of the end zone. Just those moments like that stands out. And Josh was a great teammate. I know Malik is doing a great job, being a great teammate and contributor there this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's in store for him in the future.
All right, I bounce all around, Ben. Just stay with me, okay?
No problem. No problem at all.
This quarterback LSU's got, Jaden. I mean, he was very good last year. He is taking things to a whole new level this year. I mean, you couldn't walk down the field 40 yards and drop the ball into the receiver's hands any better than he's putting it right now, right?
Oh yeah, and that's one thing that's special about Jalen. I mean, just his ability to make plays with his arm and the ability to make plays with his legs as well too. So it keeps the defense on their heels. They can't be as aggressive coming up and crowding the box and trying to get rid of those run lanes for him when the protection breaks down or there's no one to throw to, because he can make plays with his feet. They have to stay back in coverage because they know they can get hit with the deep ball as well. And with the receivers that they have to make plays after the ball is caught, it makes defenses play balanced. It makes them play honest. And that's what happens when you have an electric quarterback like that. And so I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the team in general, just from the way that they've been playing and representing LSU, the way that they have played so far this year. And hats off to them. And I'm truly excited about this game coming up this weekend and seeing how it all comes to life.
Yeah. So LSU Bama in the trenches, as we talk about your position, Brad Davis, the LSU offensive line coach, Will Campbell and Emory Jones, baptism by fire a year ago. I think no one doubts those two guys. You might be drafting one of those guys one day. Who knows, right?
Who knows? It's a really good group of offensive linemen there. You mentioned the two young guys that kind of got thrown into the fire a little bit. Reminds me of myself, but they handled it well. And you can see the maturation of their play going into this next year. And Brad Davis, I got a lot of respect for him. He's a really good friend of mine. And we've talked numerous times about ball and different things, just catching up with our families and stuff. And so just to see him get that opportunity to coach at a big-time program like LSU in his hometown, I couldn't be happier for the man and just the success that he's had since he's been there. Just wishing nothing but the best for that group of young men playing in that offensive line room, and hope they can continue to represent us well.
Yeah, outstanding. How have you handled Nick Saban at Alabama, your mentor, so to speak, in the way of the school that you love and played for?
I always say I'm a fan of Nick Saban. I don't say I'm a fan of Alabama. I say I'm a fan of Nick Saban until he plays LSU. Other than that, Saban has provided so many opportunities for me with the opportunity to play and make a name for myself there at the school and providing more opportunities in the future as far as continuing my career in the NFL. And, he's helped out a lot in my coaching career as far as being a sounding board, being a someone I can talk to and lean on and make a call if I need. He's always been there for me. I just visited Alabama during this last draft cycle and went to their pro day. And, anytime I go visit the campus, we always spend a few minutes in his office and talking and catching up and saying how our families are doing. So outside of football, I got nothing but respect for Coach Saban. Like I said, he's been so great to me and my family, and I'm forever grateful for that. This week is tough, obviously. It's not that tough, obviously, because LSU always comes first. But it's still hard. It still cuts a little bit to see Saban over on the other sideline in those different colors. And but that is just the nature of the business that we're in, and he's done a great job where he's at, and just wishing him great success in the future after this weekend.
Against everybody else, right?
Yes, indeed.
He always returns your call. He always gets back with you if you need something.
I've never had a problem getting a hold of Coach Saban if I needed to. And I mean, it's not necessarily a need thing, just to reach out and say hello and check on him and see how he's doing. If I can't catch him right away, obviously he's a busy man just as I am. He's always gotten back to me. And so I appreciate that about him, taking the time out of his busy schedule to to reach back out whenever it's necessary. So I don't bother him too much. You know, it's hard to have conversations with Saban that's not football related. So if his mind's on football, you try to avoid him. But if you able to steal a few minutes where it's not about football and you just catch up as old friends, then that's always great too.
I was joking with Trev Falk. Trev, his first head coaching job was at a school called Vermilion Catholic out in Abbeville, little small school. And he said that he put Saban down as a reference, and Saban called the school and told them to hire him. And I was joking. I can imagine those Cajun people. Man, it's Nick Saban on the phone. Man, get out of here. It ain't Coach Saban. You got to be kidding me. You know, I said, it must have been over after that. When Nick Saban calls, everybody else that applied for that job probably, you know.
You know, he still has a little touch to him. So I don't doubt that. But that's just the type of guy that he's been. No one that I've talked to that's been a teammate of mine that anytime Saban has come up in conversation that has said anything negative from the standpoint of not being able to reach out to him and have a conversation with them for whatever reason. And so that's one thing I've always respected about him. He doesn't forget his old players. He looks out for them, even though he's at a different school. You know, he gives me a big hug when I see him on the Alabama campus and we talk about old times. We don't talk about the new times in Alabama. We talk about old times. And so I'm always appreciative of that and appreciative of him for being able to share that same mindset mentality with the rest of the team. And it's always good to catch up whenever we can.
So a couple of quick things from the past. 2002, you snapped the Bluegrass Miracle?
I did. Yes, I did, man. I was in there as the pivot, and that was a great play. I've watched that play numerous times, that last play, and I kind of got knocked back a little bit as a sophomore center, but I was able to get my feet up under me and anchor down and allow Marcus to scramble out to the right and make that big throw. And such a special moment, man. I remember running down the field and jumping in the pile and just celebrating with everybody, and just something that we knew that we had a chance. We always had a chance regardless because of the type of guys we had on our team, and just to come out with that win and the way that we won that game. I still remember to see across the field and see the head coach, Coach Morrison, on the other side getting dunked with the Gatorade. And then we was able, prior to that last play. And so just the mindset of that team, being able to say, regardless of what's going on, we still believe we can win this game. And sure enough, we was able to do that. Special day.
Yeah. It's got to replay every now and then where you're sitting on the couch, right? And they're going over, college football's greatest moments or whatever, just, I don't want to say it happened, but impossible, right? You're 76 yards away from the end zone. That just doesn't, you got to be at midfield usually, right? For something like that.
Usually, man. But, Mike jumped up there. Now, I honestly can't tell if you got a hand on the ball or not, but I know David was in the right spot at the right time and grabbed that ball. And then once he gets going, no one's catching him. And so once he got those feet rolling, man, we knew it was a touchdown. And as soon as we saw that ball hit his hands, I think we started running and celebrating with our arms in the air, giving a touchdown signal before we even crossed the end zone. So, it just goes to show you just the talent that we had across the board on that team at every level on all sides of the ball, special teams included. And, it was just a special group of guys that was able to experience a moment like that. Obviously, you want your wins to come a little easier, but those don't hurt every now and then too.
Yeah, Devery said you practiced it and it never worked at practice. Always got knocked down.
Right. Well, that's just the defensive guys in practice. They don't want to give up no interceptions on that side of the ball. So they're gonna get a chance to. Anytime they get a chance to put their hand on it and knock it down, they will. But those guys were ready at the moment when that play was called, and regardless of the lack of success in practice, when it counted, when it mattered, it counted. So yeah. That's all. That's what counts.
Ben Saban was so conflicted, right? Because it's about the process. It's not about the final score. And that game was kind of like 3/4 not good, and then this play we won. Oh, okay. It's kind of like he didn't know how to respond to it. He was conflicted.
Well, look, one thing about Coach Saban, he never let us relax, even after wins. If there was something that was an issue, something that needed to be addressed, something that we needed to make sure that we were accountable for going into the next week and make sure whatever issues that came across within the previous week's win, they didn't show up again, because those things can cost you a game as well. And so one thing about it, we were able to celebrate the win, but he never let us get to a point where we got relaxed, or to the point where we were not paying attention to those little details that could win or lose your game, especially in those end of game situations. And so I'm sure we talked quite a bit in regards to how those 3/4 of the game, as you mentioned, went that did not go so well. But at the same time, we were still able to celebrate the victory as well. And so it just prepared us moving forward, just knowing that regardless of wins or losses, you can always be better. You can always improve. You can always grow. And I think that helped us all in football and outside of football as well, as we continue our life after LSU.
Ben, LSU is going to honor the 2003 national championship team the weekend of the Florida game. 20 years it's been. Safe to say Nick Saban will not be there. I've asked. Not yet. Maybe one day when he's 90, he'll be out there in Tiger Stadium and you guys can celebrate. But I don't think it's happening anytime soon. But anyway, just your thoughts on that team 20 years later. Matt Mock, your quarterback. You talked about Michael Clayton. I saw Skylar Green the other day. The defense, right? Just that menacing defense. Everything about that team.
What can I not say about that team? I mean, just the players that we had, that, like I alluded to earlier, just the way we practiced day to day and week to week, battling each other, not just at the front level with the O-line and D-line, but the linebackers that were coming downhill. We had to account for those guys too. And I mean, our receivers battling against that great defensive backfield that we had. The running back crew that we had going against those linebackers, the tight ends we had matching up against Spears and Marquise Hill, play to play. It was truly iron sharpening iron on a day-to-day basis. And so that's why I said the games were easy, because we felt like we were playing against the best that college football had to offer every single day. And it was intense. It was physical. I know on the offensive side of the ball, we always look forward to, not too often, but we always look forward to Nick Saban starting practice. And it always happened after the 9-on-7 period, when the offense was having success, when the offensive line was moving the defensive line and getting yards running the ball. It always made Coach Saban skate fall, so he was quick to blow that whistle and make us start over from stretch lines. And so we knew that when we got rolling, it was like a challenge, and it was a fun challenge. And to take to the defense and had those successful days. Now, don't get me wrong, they gave it to us plenty of days too. And so it wasn't every day we would be starting practice, but that was kind of a goal for us, not just from the simple fact that we made the practice start over, we had success on defense, but it just built confidence in us as an offensive unit, that we can go out there and execute at a high level versus a really good defense, no matter who lined up in front of us. Because, like I said, we played against the best of the best on a weekly basis, and I think the feeling is mutual from the defense side of the ball. They weren't afraid to go against anybody and peel their ears back and make plays, play after play after play, because the offensive side of the ball provided the things they needed from a day-to-day practice preparation standpoint to prepare them for the games on Saturdays. And so when we got to that into that season, obviously the Florida game was the one loss we had, and that always kind of tarnished things a little bit. But I don't want to say tarnished, but it's still a little pain in my side after having that one loss. But to bounce back from that and to reel off the wins we had, to beat Georgia twice. The first game was close, and then we get to the SEC championship, and we knew that we belonged. We knew that this game was going to be won, and just right out of the gate, after Justin Vincent scored that big run right at the beginning of the game, I think I might have got a block of the game for that one, coming around on the horn play and picking up the linebackers to spring them out. We had all the confidence in the world, and we get to the national championship game versus Oklahoma, and they're star-studded. They got the defense of all defenses. Tommy Harris had Dan Roth, Dvorak. I remember him because me and him was jawing back and forth throughout the whole game. I think they had like an All-American linebacker, All-American defensive back. I mean, they had guys on every level. No different than us at LSU. And so with that being said, we knew we were prepared. We knew we were ready for whatever they could bring to us. And it was a great matchup, and ultimately we came out with the win. And it was all because of the guys we had in our locker room pulling it all together and understanding that the goal we had in front of us was definitely reachable even after the Florida loss. And we didn't let anything stop us.
Yeah. Awesome. Great time. Great time. The first one, the first one, and then you get spoiled, right? And then like you win it again in 07, it's like it's going to happen all the time. And then you got to wait a while till Joe Burrow and those guys, right? So
I know it.
I was interviewing Benny the other day, and just out of the blue, he goes, "Jock, why we lost to Florida, man? Why we lost to Florida?" I'm like, Benny, I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that.
It's one of those things, man. And hats off to that team that year.
Chris Leak.
I know it. It was a good talent, could spin the ball, and they found a way to get it done. But at the end of the day, we're still the champions at the end of the SEC and the BCS. And, even though that was one little spot in that year that kind of makes it imperfect, it was still perfect, because we learned a lot from that game and we grew from that game, and it kind of lit a spark within our team. And to know that wasn't the standard, that wasn't acceptable, and that year we were not going to allow that to happen again. And sure enough, we was able to finish it out, winning them all.
Well, that night when Saban threw his headset off in the Superdome, no one was thinking about Florida, and I don't think anyone really has. Since then. And the scores that year too, right? It shows the different time, because like the Georgia game, which was kind of, I think, looked back on as a breakthrough for the program, the 17-10, like the games were lower scoring. Ole Miss 17-14. It was more defensive error than even 20 years ago, but just the Georgia game, because there was all this talk about LSU can't win a big game in the daytime, and this kind of stuff that Saban was like, this is BS, right? We're gonna have to play a game in the daytime. We're gonna have to win it, and so Mock to Skyler to win that game.
Green, yeah. I mean, that was again just moments like that, no different than the Bluegrass Miracle, special. And obviously, you wish the game went a little bit differently, to where the win was a little bit more comfortable. But moments like that, again, like I said, against a really good Georgia football team that we had to play against, it just kind of solidified the mindset that, we belong and we can compete against anybody. Again, that team had some great players. I think Green was a quarterback, and, obviously Dave Pollock and the linebacker crew they had. I mean, they had some studs on that side of the ball. And so just to compete against those guys and then get the rematch in the SEC championship game, and it was like, okay, you kind of showed your hand a little bit in that first game, but you got a different LSU team showing up to you this time. And, I think it was little conversations going on that, outside of our building, people were saying that, the first game was a fluke and LSU didn't belong and they shouldn't have won it and they can't stand up to Georgia. And so to be able to go out there with that confidence in that SEC championship game and show everybody that we are real and none of this is a fluke. We're talented and we have a goal that we're trying to achieve, and nothing's going to get in our way. And that includes Georgia, that includes Oklahoma, that included anybody that they wanted to put in front of us. It didn't matter. Our mind was set, and we put the work in to get it done. And just thankful that we were able to do it, and I was able to do it with a group of great guys and lifelong friends.
Appreciate your time. A couple more things with the great Ben Wilkerson, winner of the Remington Award, by the way, top center in the country in 2004. Okay, this is low-hanging fruit, Ben. But so we go to Ole Miss the other day. Ole Miss honors, they bring them all out. They honor their 2003 SEC West championship team during the LSU game, which, maybe against another opponent, they can kick that one by the goalie, so to speak. No one looks it up. But when the team you're playing beat you head-to-head and went to Atlanta and played Georgia, it's interesting to do something like that. Well, did you hear about that?
I did hear about that. I don't really have too much to say on it other than we know the realness behind it. And I'll just leave it at that. Conversations with old teammates about it and stuff, and kind of going back and forth, like, man, what's going on? What are they doing? What are they thinking? Especially during that game, and whatever the case would be. but we knew amongst ourselves the truth behind the whole story and the truth behind the matter. So, people are going to have their opinions and let Ole Miss celebrate whatever fabricated thing that they want to celebrate. The trophies at LSU.
When you got hurt in 04, there was criticism that you shouldn't have been in the game, that it was too late, and that you should have been out and you got hurt. Matt Malk got hurt, remember, in 02, late in the game. And so that was a criticism at the time. You had the T-shirt, right? I will walk off this field. That became your motto. What's your reflection on that?
A young me, 20 years ago me, I had those bitter moments and those thoughts as well. But through good mentorship, good counseling by some people I trust, that kind of got me out of that hole. At the end of the day, I got hurt on the last play of the game versus Vanderbilt. Very easily could have happened in the first play of the game. And none of that conversation ever would have happened. That whole tidbit, as far as whether or not I should have been in the game, wouldn't have happened. It's football. It's a physical game. And those things happen. And so I had to learn quickly to get out of my bitterness in that case and just focus on moving forward and getting healthy again and creating an opportunity for myself to play football again. It's always tough when you deal with those moments. But one thing I wanted to show in that moment was I can remember being on the field, sitting on the field after the pile cleared. And I'm just sitting there straight-legged, just wondering, like, well, why me? And I remember, Jack Marucci and Andy Baker and Shelly was asking, "Hey, you want us to bring the cart out here to get you off the field?" And I was like, "No, not at all. Like, I don't get on. No, that's not going to happen." And so, with the help of the LSU football community, not just teammates but support staff, they helped me walk off that field because I didn't know any different, and I wanted to show that, just the people, show myself, number one, just the people there that, this is not going to stop me. This is just a small roadblock and a small hurdle that I got to get over. And, I hate that I wasn't able to finish out the year. There was a lot of things left out there that I continue to want to do for myself and for my teammates and for the LSU football team and community. And some goals that we wanted to accomplish. And, getting hurt and not being able to finish out the season was always tough. And it's still tough looking back and thinking about it. But just thankful for the support I have from the LSU community, my teammates, the support staff, my family, and everyone involved helped me get out of that dark place and allow me to continue my career for 4 years in the league. And now I'm, on the coaching side of things and getting a chance in my way. This is my way of saying this is my way of making up for the lost time I got in the league as a player, being able to do it from a coaching side and get those years back and loving every moment of it. And I take those lessons that I got from the injury and all other experiences in college and trying to apply them to what I do in my job today as far as the resiliency, the no quit, no matter what, find a way to get it done. And just thankful for that. Even though it was a dark time, that experience was a trial at the time, but it's a testimony now, and I can share that with other people and hopefully help others out as well.
Beautifully said. My cheap Zoom is just about out of time here, so
okay.
I just end with this as someone who's kind of stayed in touch with you over the years. Sometimes people they look at coaches and their salaries. I want people to know this guy right here. He has worked at the high school level, and you have certainly worked your way up over the years to get where you are right now. And God bless you and your family, and appreciate your time. And one of the greats in LSU history, on and off the field. This is what you should be, kids. This guy right here, not me. This guy.
Jacques, I'll tell you, man, you've been a long-time friend, and I appreciate the relationship we've been able to keep throughout the years. And just always look forward to catching up with you and talking to you, be it football related or outside of football. God bless you as well, and continue to do your thing, man. Proud of you. I see those images in your background right there. They're not there by accident. So keep doing your thing, my man.
This is not like a Seinfeld, Amy. It's like a local. But yeah, I'll take it, and we can pretend.
No, that's all right. That's all right. They're there for a reason. So hats off to you, my man.
All right, hats off to you, and JETS, Jets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got a great game this weekend. We're looking forward to, and hopefully we continue to have success going forward in this season.